Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we're going to be breaking down a topic that I think a lot of people are going to be talking about a lot, and that's in regards now to the brand new price increase when it comes to Nintendo Switch 2 games. Now, as you guys know, today we had the big Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. We had a lot of information coming out, and I think it's kind of like a back and forth. I think a lot of people are very excited for the Switch 2, a brand new console, new video games that finally got to go and play, and it also finally a big improvement when it comes to the Switch, or even have a chance to go and see brand new games out here too as well that we have all play in the background during my intro. But when it comes to the biggest issue is money, and well, money is not something that grows on trees as much as we wish it would be. And I did go and say in my earlier video, and if you guys missed it, we made a Switch video on the channel, kind of just talk about everything, like that's just the big everything. You guys want to hear my first impressions, reactions, so check it on out if you guys would like, or subscribe if you guys are new. But right now I want to go do a little bit more of a deep dive on something that I don't want to talk about, and that's in regards now to the price increase. Now, let's go be realistic here. And I would love to hear your thoughts as I kind of react throughout this video down below. I don't like it. I don't think many people will. I don't think many people should. And I think this is something I wish the whole collective gaming community could really go and push against. We had a pretty big major price increase. Like we had video games around $60 for a very long time. That was a standard. And I think most people were cool with that. Even right now, I feel like that's like the price, you know, with inflation and all that stuff. Sure, whatever. Like that's the price to me. But then we saw, once again, Nintendo kind of make that big leap, and that was $70 for their games. And a few other games have done that too as well, but I still usually feel like that's just too much. Like, I'll be honest, like just straight up, I think it's too honest. To the point where we're now seeing that the Switch 2 games can cost up to $80 or even $90 for their physical editions. And we also did hear too that the physical editions, like say discs, you know, in general, might also just have download codes. It might not actually be even proper physical. And it's stupid. Like, I want to complain about that too. I want to complain about a lot of stuff over here. Now, once again, I will probably be buying a Switch, and I'm probably a hypocrite for not being like a boycotter or whatever. But at the end of the day, $80 is too much money. And I kind of want to go touch on this topic, at least how I feel like in view Nintendo. This might be a hot take. I think Nintendo is greedy. And I would hope you guys would agree, and hopefully someone's not like so much of a Nintendo loyalist. Like, I like Nintendo. I will play Nintendo games. I understand. But for the past like 5 years or so, I feel like all their Switch games were just rehashed, kind of really basic, lame games. And I'm not saying like if the games are made for children, that's fine. I might not be the demographic for certain games. I do want to highlight that because it's gonna be a big deal. But one big thing to note is all these games kind of suck. There's no soul behind them. There's just maybe is like, you know, Mario over here run around with the soccer ball. Like, sure, that's fine. But they're not like substantive games. There's not a lot going on with it. Things like Mario Party also had a lot less maps, a lot less soul compared to other prior games. But maybe because it has multiplayer now, people are okay with it compared to a game that's 15 years ago. And I just don't like it because Nintendo is setting the standard. Nintendo, which is meant to be the family-friendly game company that's meant to like bring families together. Like you go play Mario Party with your family. You go play Mario Kart. I grew up playing Mario Kart with my friends from across the street, my sisters, and it was just a fun time. And that's like what Nintendo's meant to be. And I feel like if you want to be the family-friendly console, this is like the one company that you would expect for them to have cheaper games. They're not making all these grandiose games like PlayStation or Xbox, where they cost hundreds of millions of dollars to go and make, with crazy graphical improvements and like the best ray tracing and custom making all this different type of AI. It's outdated hardware. Let's be realistic. I'm happy it's coming, no hate, but like it's outdated. And we see these types of games too. It stylistically, it has soul, but they're really selling us on either nostalgia or instilling nostalgia for our future children. And I'm okay with it though. I loved my Nintendo. I loved everything about my life when I was growing up. My Game Boy, when I was playing Pokemon for the first time, playing Mega Man, playing Battle Network, like all this type of stuff for me was my dream. All this type of stuff was like my favorite memories. I'm in like a car going down to Florida, and I'm like going on to Disney with my family. So I didn't want to be in a car for 20 hours driving from Chicago. So my mom would go and buy me a video game to go and will kind of hold me over so I didn't complain the entire time. Thank you, Mom. I love you. But like, it's like, that's how I always imagine Nintendo. You know, I want that like $30 fun portable game. I want that $50 game that's maybe a little bit cheaper because they want more people to go play. This is what kind of breaks my heart, because not only is it bad for Nintendo, like that's where my soft spot is. Like, I just wish Nintendo was not the main bad villain. If PlayStation did it first, okay, they spent $100 million on a game. Okay, you have to make it back. I don't like that, but I understand, I guess. Or Xbox, sure, whatever. But they're actually going Game Pass route. So right now, it actually seems like Nintendo, off of just the price increase, like very focused on that. I still love Nintendo for what it is kind of the bad guy here, because now this might go and justify other game companies to be able to go and spend money. It might justify like PlayStation now to make their next big game $80, because if Nintendo's doing it and they're getting the backlash, well, why come we can't go and sell The Last of Us Part 3 for $80? Why can't we go and sell the next insert whatever big IP game for $80? And they can. People will buy it. I probably will buy it, but that's kind of more my job at this point, being on Twitch or being on YouTube or reviews, or I also am a gamer at heart. But the gamer at heart right now, this is where it's kind of hurting, because I feel like we've been betrayed by Nintendo. Now, I might be a little extra dramatic. I mean, it is what it is. Inflation, the world, stuff's going to go up. Eventually, there's going to be games for $100, $130. When I'm older, dude, $200 games may not even be that abnormal. Just how the world works, how inflation works, how everything else might go and be. But I think a lot of people, especially for this, like I said, being the family-friendly console, having to spend so much extra money on these games, too. And people are not happy with it. Because we were also hearing rumors not too long ago about GTA 6 potentially maybe being $100. And I made that video about a few weeks ago, and I talked about it because it was an interesting topic. And I was like, that's probably not going to happen. I don't think Rockstar would do us dirty like that. It would be a good game, and it probably would be one of the games I'd be okay spending $100 on, because I know they put a lot of heart and soul and effort, and all the other Grand Theft Auto games have kind of earned their merit. But now we're going to have to also worry about then the second part of these mediocre mid-tier AAA game studios like Ubisoft or EA, or just companies that really don't deserve an $80 game, a $90 game, a $100 game. At least not yet, because they just haven't proved it. GTA would be the one game I probably would be say like, I get it, I understand. But I wouldn't want that. I still wouldn't want that. Nintendo, I'm gonna be honest, hot take, I have not been too impressed with their games. Now, their mainstay games like Tears of the Kingdom, phenomenal. Mario Odyssey when it came out, phenomenal. But a lot of these like kind of like weird mid-tier games that are just not that substantive, and they're kind of mediocre, don't think I really want to spend $80 on their games in the first place, because I know it's a little bit too much money. And I don't want PlayStation to bump up their prices. I mean, maybe I'm being selfish, because we are kind of seeing this weird bubble where these games are costing more and more and more, and it does get harder and harder and harder to justify, and there is a bigger and bigger and bigger chance for them to fail. Look at Concord, once again, always. But there's also that chance that maybe we're just trying to overprice things out so much, like too much. Like maybe at the end of the day, like, you know what happens? Like people even over here, look at this. This is like, you know, like $90. People talk about how they might even want to go and emulate through as well. Look at this. Wow, way to kill all momentum and hype for the Switch 2. People are upset about this. There's a lot of likes. A lot of people are kind of bearing the same exact conversation too as well. $80 digital games, $90 for physical. 4 games would be the cost of the console. You feel zero remorse in emulating. This is literal robbery. And I feel the same boat. Because if these games are mediocre and they don't have this crazy Nintendo charm, then I'm not really going to be a big fan of it. And once again, I don't like this cascading effect. I don't like the idea that Nintendo is the bad guy. I don't like the idea that we even have to spend more money just to once again have a family console that I'd want kids out there. I want some kid out there who maybe doesn't have that much. Because like maybe, I mean, I don't want to say I was like hungry or whatever when I was a kid, but there was times, you know, where my family was going through some times. There was times where I had one game to go and justify myself. There was a time where me getting a video game for my birthday was like a special occasion. It's like when I first got Wind Waker, that was one of my favorite games. I just kept on replaying it over and over and over and over and over again. I would sit in my random living room just play the entire summer. I couldn't wait for that game. I'd look at the commercial nonstop, and all I'd ever want to do is play it. Because that was like the memory. That was like me exploring the world. That was like me basically realizing that life is an adventure. It's fun. I didn't even talk to someone about that. Like that same memory to date. And we had a chance to randomly, like, I don't know, bond on it. And it was something special to me. Because that was like how my childhood was. Or when I had a chance to first watch Pokemon, I kind of felt like I could actually be a hero. And even if things were going wrong, I could still make it work. You know, like there were special memories when I was a kid that I grew up on. And these were all things that, because my mom, who worked really hard, and my dad, who also did work his booty off, like they kind of let me have a special moment. But if things cost more money over time, and especially if Nintendo is meant to be the family console, there might be a lot of times out there where we might not have that opportunity. The economy is hard. The world's hard. It's going to get harder over time, and especially just how everything is. So now we have to go sit here and spend $90 on a video game after also spending $500 on the bundle. I know it's a little bit less than that, but you know, still. And it sucks because once again, then all these other games that come out, and when you know you have your kid that becomes a teenager, they go buy a PS7, then be spending $130 on a game. I mean, I gotta give a little credit to it. That's why I like Game Pass. I mean, at least gives people options, and even if you can't buy every single game, at least it lets you still be a gamer, at least to some extent. And I'm just really disappointed. I mean, there's some good. Like, I don't want to be a hater channel on the Switch 2. There is cool stuff. I can't wait to get it. I will be buying it. Maybe we can even give one away if you guys want. But it just sucks because it's not what I expected. Like, I kind of expected Nintendo to be a little bit better. We know they're kind of greedy. We know they're kind of lost in their ways. And I mean, we've seen them with like YouTube copyright and DMCAing stuff for 10 years, if you guys remember that. Or at the same time, like, you know, online, it was free. They were like, yeah, you got to spend money on it. There's a lot of various things you can kind of complain on Nintendo for. But this is, I think, kind of a valid one, because I don't want this to shape the gaming industry, and I just don't think a lot of video games should cost this much, and I'm a little bit disappointed in the Nintendo for even allowing this to go and happen. And more so for them being the first step in this kind of corporate greed of making gaming just a little bit more. I understand inflation, I understand games cost money, I understand that like this is probably where the world's going to go, and I do understand probably the next 1 or 2 years, this will be even more normalized than I wish it was right this second. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts and comments on all this down below. Subscribe if you guys agree, subscribe if you, or give me your comments down below. And of course, we have all the Twitters and Twitches as well. I appreciate you all so much for watching here in the first place.